Whether you are dreading the holidays or excited about them, in this episode number 6, you'll get some tips on how to enjoy them even more. We'll start it off with a powerful question and end it with you feeling better than you do right now. You'll also learn how to anticipate feeling lighter this coming year. But first, you might be finding me for the first time, so here's my intro. Hi, I'm Clarinda, and you are listening to the Feel Light, Mind and Body podcast, created for women like you. Women who are experiencing success in so many areas of life, but are struggling with weight loss, stress eating, and decreased energy. Losing weight can feel hard, heavy, and restrictive. That's why every week I will be offering you a different perspective, tips, encouragement, and a unique approach so that you can feel lighter in your mind and body rather than feeling deprived, frustrated, or discouraged. What if you could feel free, yet in control around food for the rest of your life? What if you could enjoy your experience of losing weight and getting healthier? You absolutely can. You're in the right place. Take this time for yourself and let's dive in. Hello, my friend. Yes, my friend, because if you have started listening in, then you're part of meaningful conversations like I have with my friends and clients. I don't know about you, but small talk exhausts me. But real talk, I'm all in, and time just flies by. I'm looking out the window and I'm seeing some falling snow, and it's soft and it's pretty. So I was going to start this episode off with, "It's beginning to look a lot like Christmas," but I didn't for 2 reasons. First, you might be listening to this off season and just click away. And second, it's not the topic at hand, but it is a good example of one of the points. So there you go. Now, are you ready for one powerful question that can guide your upcoming decisions, whether it's around the holidays or any time of year? Ask yourself, how can I make it lighter this year? You can use this for anything you do or are dreading doing. Simply replace the "it," how can I make it, with whatever you are thinking about or see on your never-ending list. We teach what we've learned and or experiencing ourselves, so I'll be using the pronoun we quite often, as this is also a coaching session for myself. There are many ways we could approach this, but let's make it as light as possible, as we only have so much mental bandwidth right now. At least that's my experience. Today marks a day that my dad died 4 years ago. So I asked this question, how can I make grieving Dad feel lighter this year? I started today as I do most mornings, which is with prayer and meditation time. And for me, that looks like starting with gratitude and praise, then asking for what I need guidance and wisdom for. And my fairly new component is to add in listening. That's the hardest one for me. I knew I especially needed to do this today, or else the heaviness would most likely intensify. So I gave myself the gift of 10 minutes to write out some of the memories, just to let myself smile, feel all the mixed emotions, some tears flowed, and I also wrote a post to honor him. And then, now, I need to do what he practiced daily, to show up with love and kindness from myself and others. I know you might be thinking, that feels like too much work, or it's emotional. And I would have felt that way a few years ago as well. That's when I didn't know what to do with the emotions. And to be honest, I was just scared that if I allowed myself to cry, then I would continue all day. I wouldn't get anything done, or I would just feel terrible all day long. But what I have learned, the great news, is making the time to do what your mind will initially protest. It sets you up for a lighter day. I don't feel heavy now, or else I wouldn't be able to be here with you. I do feel a sense of sadness, but I'm okay with that. And I can let it go with me for the rest of the day or season without making it mean anything, except I loved him dearly and I still miss him very much. Now, if you listened to last week's episode, you know I recognize the various kinds of grief, with dirty grief and devastating grief being 2 of them. And if you're experiencing that, then you might not be able to do a big task like I'm doing right now, recording. And that's okay. Be kind and compassionate with yourself. And you can still ask, how can I make my grieving lighter today? It might simply be not telling yourself that you should feel better than you do. It also might be getting enough courage to reach out to someone you know who loves you. And I know that's hard, but just simply say, I need some human connection today. It doesn't mean you expect them to make it better for you, but you won't be alone. They might not be able to be with you in presence, but sometimes just that text or a quick phone call or a message is what you need to get you through. If you have clinical depression and or are seeing a therapist, just make sure you keep those appointments no matter how busy work is or how much you have to do at home. Okay, so we went from singing to crying almost. So let's go to the in-between topics. And of course, this is a weight loss podcast, so let's talk about food first. Ask yourself, how can I make lighter choices? I'm sure you know all the do's and don'ts that you've heard over the years of traditional dieting, so I'm not going to focus on that today. You might pick up something new that really speaks to you from last week's podcast. It's called Holiday Thriving Tips and Tactics. So yes, ask this question before you're surrounded by all the yummy food. Pausing and giving your mind a few guidelines can allow you to leave without feeling heavy physically and mentally. Another question around food. How can I approach this food-centered holiday or gathering in a lighter way? And I want to suggest a couple of things. First of all, don't dread it. No one is going to hold you down and stuff half of a cheesecake into you. No one can make you do anything. In addition to last week's tips, I want to add you can feel lighter by putting less focus on the food and drinks and more focus on the connection you want to feel with others as well as yourself. Be in the moment. Take it all in with a grateful heart. Yes, that also goes with being around those you might find annoying. You can make that lighter in your mind by thinking, okay, like it or not, here's an opportunity for me to practice not being judgmental. You might also consider playing with the setting the loving boundaries concept, or whatever else you might want to improve on, like patience, unconditional love, or simply walking away as your response instead of reacting. So that segues nicely into letting people be who they are. Your gathering's not the time to try to change them. Let go of your expectations of how you think they should or shouldn't think, or what they should or shouldn't do. That's a tough one, but it's also so freeing to not give your power over to someone else on how you're going to feel and if you're going to still have a good time or not. Let those people be, and then focus your attention on who you do love being around. Focusing on them more than the food will give you so much better results. It doesn't mean you don't enjoy the food, but you enjoy the conversation more. Last week, you may remember that I said I was giving myself the option of having dessert at the nursing party. It was last Friday night. But when it came time for the dessert, I wasn't hungry. And then it's funny because when I heard them talk about the dessert as it was coming out, they were like saying, ooh, this is that Christmas crack again. And immediately I had a thought of, oh, I have a big day tomorrow. I don't want to be distracted. I don't want to have to deal with all the urges because I knew it would reactivate all my sugar cravings. And I also knew I needed and wanted a deep night's sleep, not a restless one like sugar gives me. These are thoughts I get to practice along with my Feel Light Mind and Body members. And now they're becoming automatic, which is so helpful. And it's fun helping the others get to that point as well. The next tip. When you are with others, lighten up your mind and experience by not trying to text or message someone back. Stay unplugged if at all possible. In fact, some people may find they stay feeling lighter if they aren't looking at everyone else's holiday highlight reels, and then feeling bad that theirs doesn't look the same. I personally love the combo of being able to check in on close family and friends, especially those I won't see in person over the holidays, while spending less time overall simply scrolling. I want my time on there to be intentional. I lighten up my experience by being happy for them and their celebrations. Now, I've had a few years on and off where I did feel sad while looking at other people's posts, so I avoided it totally. Now, I have a different approach that I practice and help my clients with. In a nutshell, it looks something like this. Let that emotion be an indicator of what you are thinking when seeing their words or pictures. And ask yourself why. Write or talk it out. Ask, how do I want to feel? Maybe it's that you want to be having more fun or feeling more loved. Then ask yourself how you can create that feeling right now in your current circumstance. What do you need to believe or do to make that happen? Simply ask, how can I lighten up in the very best way? Next tip. This one we are definitely only touching on. How can you lighten up your tendency to people please? If you've been a people pleaser all of your life, like I used to be, then you may be relieved that I didn't say stop people pleasing. That's a lot of pressure and may feel impossible to you. And then, because of that, it would add more heaviness to your mind. So simply ask, what is one way in which I can practice not people pleasing at this next gathering? Maybe I should have numbered these tips, but let's keep going. We have 3 left. Be mindful not to get caught up in the complaining or gossiping conversations. It's definitely a common way that we connect as humans and even bond over, but it will leave you feeling heavy and yucky. You can try being the change and redirecting the conversation, or if it's a large gathering, simply wander off and start talking with someone else. Next tip, make a nagging decision. I had a woman book a consult with me yesterday, and this is very common after Christmas, but not as common a week before. So I was curious at why now when she was saying how busy she is. She said, I'm not wanting to start now, but I do want a plan in place for January because that's what's going to keep me sane over Christmas. And I'm like, but of course. Whether you decide to try some of these tips or eat and drink whatever, just knowing that you have given it a time frame of a couple of weeks or so, that's going to be helpful for you. Making a decision does feel good. Do I have an amen? Being an indecision feels stressful. Absolutely. Okay, so listen up. The best kind of gift you can give yourself anytime is coaching. It will lighten up your mental and physical health. It's life-changing. It has changed my life and given me so many tools to enjoy life more fully. So check out the link in the podcast description on how you can try out a weight loss coaching experience to get you kickstarted. It's called A Fresh Start, Feel Lighter in 2 weeks. And the last tip on how to lighten up and enjoy your holidays even more is to have fun. If you think it's going to be a boring party, bring the fun to it. Why not be the crazy one who brings a silly game? Maybe suggest a gift swap or to dress up or set up a challenge or contest. Taking those 10 minutes to go on Pinterest or to Google, that will probably save you some overeating. And you're like, what? How? Well, we know that when we're bored, what's the easiest form of entertainment? Food or beverages? And I know I'd rather laugh until my stomach hurts than go to bed with that feeling in my stomach of overeating from boredom. So that's our holiday wrap-up. Enjoy, or at least take care of yourself during the holidays from a place of appreciation. Lighten up as much as possible. And if you want to lighten up even more in January, I would love to support you and help you reach your goal. As you may know, weight loss can be a lonely and frustrating experience when trying to manage it alone. Tonight, the current 3-month weight loss program grads will be celebrating their non-scale and scale victories. It's going to be fun and exciting to celebrate how they have lightened up in all areas. Maybe I will share some of their successes next week to encourage you. And keep an eye out on my social media as I will be sharing some of their words and testimonials and pictures and all of that fun stuff. But for now, take a moment and click on the A Fresh Start, Feel Lighter in 2 weeks link to save your spot. It's only $49 Canadian. It'll give you a taste of what it's like to work with me and a taste of the program. So I think that's a pretty sweet gift that you could give yourself now or for the new year because you don't want to miss out. Now, do yourself the biggest favor. From love, take at least one action step from what you learned today. Knowledge without application won't give you the results that you desire. Let me know on Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, wherever, what you are choosing to do and when. And yes, please leave a podcast review wherever you are listening to this. When people read your words and can see themselves in them, then you are contributing to women empowering other women, and that feels amazing. You just might change or save a life today.